Hi everyone, LiberAnarchy. I should be in bed, but instead I'm making a video. I wanted to tell you about the origin of my cat's name. This is at the request of Fruity K, and I love my cat, and I love talking about my cat, and there is my cat right there. So, for those of you who don't know, my cat's name is Seti, spelled S-E-T-I, and his full silly name is Seti the First cat I've ever owned. So, when I brought him home, his foster parents had named him Menace, and I came to find out that he was rather aptly named Menace. See, they had tons of cats, and so they were just giving them just random names. They couldn't think of any other names, so that this one's Dennis and that one's Menace, and they just had tons of names for tons of cats. So and since he obviously didn't know his name, because while his foster mom was a good foster mom, that wasn't his permanent home, so she couldn't get too attached to all the cats. So, yeah, so she just kind of had to name him so she could obviously talk about him, but yeah. So I changed his name the first day that I got him, or actually that night. Since he is black, all black, I was thinking of names that would suit, trying to think of names that would suit him without getting really uncreative. I didn't want to name him Tar or Midnight or Blackie. So I was trying to, he was almost named Coffee. Poor thing. I know. And so, I was trying to think of names like, space, or associations with really deep under the earth, or concepts that were unknown, shrouded. And, I didn't want to name him Shadow and, stuff like that. He was gonna, I was thinking about Chaos, I was thinking about Coffee, I was thinking about, Cosmos, and just all sorts of names like that. So I finally thought maybe SETI, as in the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence. Now, what they do is listen to all sorts of radio waves, all sorts of radio transmissions coming from outer space. And they do this in the hopes that an extraterrestrial species is sending out transmissions. That we actually end up receiving. I know the odds are slim, but that's what they do. And I think that's pretty neat. Thank you very much. So, I named him SETI after the Search for Extraterrestrial Intelligence because it had an association with space, with the night sky, something that was black, but in this case, something that we can't even see, and let's just say it's a very good thing he has a bell around on his little collar, because he likes to run in front of my feet in the dark. He is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. So his name was SETI. Then, just because I think ancient history is neat, and I've sort of gotten into ancient Egypt lately, but yeah, as mostly an after effect of SETI's name, but and I had a friend that was into ancient. Actually, I have several YouTube friends that are into ancient Egyptian religion, in one way, shape, or form. So I'm like, Seti, that sounds familiar. Wasn't there a pharaoh named Seti? Actually, he has the best preserved mummy. Yeah. But anyway, so, and if you watch Chasing Mummies, god damn. I really wanted to see his tomb. Yeah? Okay. Off topic. So, I look up Seti. I'm like, oh, Seti the First, the Pharaoh. Oh. So, Seti, acting like royalty, you know, like, okay, so now he's Seti the First. That's his whole name. But he's the first cat I've ever owned. So now he's Seti the First cat I've ever owned. And his son was Ramses the Second. So if I were to get another cat, he would be Ramses, the second cat I've ever owned. Unless I adopt a female cat, but anyways, so I'd have this cycle going with the Egyptian cat names, right? So look at my cat. Okay, so I learned also that Seti, Seti, perhaps it's pronounced Seti or something like that, is means consecrated to Set, the Egyptian god Set, god of chaos, god of the desert, god of storms. Of course, there's, he's not the only storm god, but yeah. He's associated with the scorpion. He's the god that, yes, he has an animal head and a human body, but his animal head is his own animal. It didn't really look like anything. Yep, he's his own animal. Yeah, so Seti means consecrated to Set, a god of chaos, a god of, outside the order of society. And Seti here is a troublemaker. You don't see it, but he's a little troublemaker. We have a dog that's huge. She's a huge red hound dog, and she's like, her head comes up to my waist, and Seti teases this huge, strong hound dog. See, my mom takes Jessie, that's the dog, for hours long walks every day. She's a strong, huge dog with a really strong jaw. And my cat teases the dog. He's not the smartest knife in the drawer, the sharpest knife in the drawer. He's a mischief maker. He's a troublemaker. He's always getting on the kitchen counters, even though he knows not to. He's always playing with the blinds, and when he really wants my attention and he wants to be chased around the house, he'll play with the blinds. So when I sit down, when I don't watch much TV. I'm either on the internet, I'm either on YouTube, or I'm reading something on the internet, or I'm reading a book. I'm not usually watching television, but when I am, I'm usually downstairs with my mom watching, that's some educational something or other, and he will sit on one of the TV speakers and start playing with the blinds, because he knows it will get me up, and I will yell at him, and my yelling bothers the dog, and then he'll run away so he doesn't get put in his room, which is essentially kitty jail. When he keeps misbehaving, I put him in his room for 5 or 10 minutes, and yeah, he doesn't like that. But yeah, so yeah, whenever he wants to be chased, sometimes he'll get on the counter and play with the blinds that he couldn't reach on the floor, because it'll get me to get up and push him down, or pick him up and put him down on the floor, Or he will get down, but he'll get down and run away. Like, you can't get me. And then he'll sit by the treat cupboard begging for his treat. And he's always getting into everything. I mean, all cats like getting into boxes, right? Yeah, and walking behind things and trying to fit into places. It's a cat thing to do, but Seti takes it to the extreme. He goes into the pantry just because he knows that we have to shut the door to turn the stupid pantry light off, but we shut the door, so he wants to go in, and then we can't shut the door. We either have to shoo the cat out and shut the door, or wait for him to come out. And it's fun to him. He'll just go in there and he will sit. He will just fucking plop himself down and he will fucking sit. And sometimes we'll just close the door and say, okay, whatever, and then 10 minutes later we'll open the door and he's just sitting there. Like, you little fucker. And he will, I don't know how he manages to do it, but he'll squeeze between the wall and the TV, and he'll walk behind my stereo, and sometimes it disconnects wires, and he will just, if you open the drawer a little bit, he'll try to get in the drawer, and I don't know how he's done this, but he's tried to, no, he's actually done this. He's actually gone into a cupboard, then behind another cupboard, then behind a drawer. Not like in an open drawer. The drawer is closed. And he will go through one cupboard and get behind the closed drawer. What the fuck? I have no idea how he does it. So the only thing I can really do in that situation is wait, and because the drawer, he likes to do it in a weird space that I can't just reach in and pull out, so we kind of gotta wait for him. So yeah, and he knows exactly where he's not supposed to be, so naturally those are the most attractive places. And so and my mom tends to get up before I do, and he will be sprawled out on the counter, the kitchen counter, because he knows he's not supposed to be there. But he'll just he'll get on there and just lay there, and it's comfortable to him or something. Yeah, he likes it. And he's laying exactly where he's not supposed to be in plain sight, so it's obviously fun for him to start trouble, but he's a cat. What are you gonna do? But he's my cat, and he's earned the name Little Black Shit, and it's a term of endearment. So that is how Seti the First, cat I've ever owned, got his name. As well as how he earned his other name, which is Little Black Shit. Which actually started with my mom, but I'm like, hey, it suits him, he's a little black shit. Alright, so there you go, Fruity K and everybody else, and there's my sleeping cat. Oh, he's awake. They said he. What's the camera? Seti. Seti. Yeah, he's a talkative little fucker too. He'll just run around the house in the wee hours, running all over the counters and just sort of meowing inanely at nothing. All the time. All the fucking time. And I try to get him to talk on video sometimes, but won't work ever. But goddamn, he's a talkative cat. He just meow.